Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the ThePCelitist. My name is Woodsie,
My name is Shepherd.
and today we're tackling the subject of free-to-play.
Yes, we are.
Yes, it's a question specifically asked by
And Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Old Lang Syne and all that. Charlie Rudd sent us a message asking us what is our opinion on free-to-play. Well,
Charlie,
Charlie,
here it is.
this is it.
It's good.
It's a good thing.
All right, well, thank you very much. And
When done well, it's a good thing. It gets always...
well, I mean, I think it's a good thing regardless because you don't have to pay for it. If the game is bad,
Right.
you still didn't pay anything for it.
Yeah, that's
so it's
true.
always a good thing for the game.
I guess it's like if they can make it work, then you never lose a dime until it works.
Yeah.
Until it's in a place that you like it, you never have to spend money on it.
If they implement that kind of system. If it's always 100% free to play no matter what, you never lose anything except your time.
No, exactly. That's my point. It's like I hate free to play. Why? Because it's an evolving thing. So once it evolves into a place you like it, you then have free games, and you never invested one dime in this whole evolution process.
That's true. That is true. I think that, well, free-to-play as a model, if developers can make it work and they can stay viable, more power to them. Because how else to expand your consumer base when anyone can play it as long as they have a working computer?
Right. So what we have to discuss is where the
dark
problem,
side of free-to-play.
the dark side of free-to-play, or the supposed dark side.
Yeah, and after you say it, I'll get to why it's... Never mind. Go ahead.
The term pay to win.
Which, I'll stop you right there. If it's free to play, how can you pay to win?
Well, you could just buy the best weapons in the game.
Exactly. If the game is free to play, but there is content that is purchasable, then it's possible. Because then it's free to play the base model,
Right.
not free to play the full featured version of the game.
I guess you're right. It has to be defined because I guess there's games that's free to play, and then you have to
there's-
subscribe.
Yeah, or there are games that are just free to play, and that's the game.
And that's the game. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
what we're talking about specifically are games that are free to start.
Right.
But if you want access to big and better things, extra content, extra items, you have to pay for them. The pay-to-win aspect, the dark side of some free-to-play games, and the ever-prevalent jump to conclusions that many gamers have that automatically, if you can buy gear, it's pay-to-win.
Yes.
We want to combat that with some real-life examples from real-life Woodsie and real-life Shepherd.
And Logic.
Yes.
Don't forget our good friend Logic, who's always in the room with us.
On our shoulders. Carry on.
Well, I actually had an interesting experience, and then we're going to go into... I think what we're going to focus this discussion around is PlanetSide, because I feel it is not only the strongest in production values free-to-play game I've ever played, but it's also, I think, one of the most balanced in terms of what you can purchase and what you can't, and that whole buying system. One thing I want to point out, the kind of unthoughtful nature of some gamers, is that I was reading Metacritic reviews, which is where you go for unthoughtful reviews.
Exactly.
And I was reading the user reviews, and some guy said, well, because you could just get in this game and then buy items, I guess the only people who would like this game are casual gamers because they don't want to put in the work to actually get the game. So it's not for the hardcore, and I'm not going to play it. Goodbye. And then a few...
So he was making that argument based on his theory that he crafted about this. Because you can buy this stuff, it's therefore not for hardcore gamers, then I'm not going to play it.
Exactly.
Without
Because
ever
I
having
guess he
played it?
considers himself a hardcore player.
Interesting.
Okay? So because it's geared towards casual players, and therefore not a hardcore game, I will not play it. And then a few reviews down, a guy says, because you could buy items, and there's so many items for so many situations, this is only for the most dedicated and a hardcore PlanetSide player, and not for the casual market. Therefore, I shall not play this game. Because I guess he considered him a casual player. Right? Do you see where I'm going with this?
A case study in you can't please everyone. So what you're saying is Sony managed to get casual gamers and hardcore gamers to hate them?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the numbers of people that play PlanetSide. I wish actually that'd be cool.
It's probably a lot, but yeah, I don't know.
It'd be cool to see. But we were thinking of examples. I mean, there are examples that people can point to and say, and the most blatant one of them all, and the king of everyone was rocket pods. And if you don't know, all the airships, all the one-man fighters in the game, all start with machine guns and like fuel tanks, afterburner tanks. You could get rid of your afterburner tanks, so you have far, far less afterburn.
Yeah, so you can't jet away from something or someone.
And replace it with rocket pods, which were basically the air-to-ground general use missile. Mm-hmm. And they were extremely strong. And everyone said, oh, you could just buy these missiles, so let's just pay to win, because those ships are too strong. They were too strong. And I think in the last patch they've balanced it out. But that was a balance issue. But everyone just... Because it's like... I just feel like when something's pay to win, it's a witch hunt. Or pay to play. I'm sorry. I keep mixing them up. When there's a pay to play game, it's an automatic witch hunt. I'm going to find out where you're trying to screw me kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to find it. You know?
We're going to get you.
So the ones... As soon as something happens to me that doesn't seem fair, and I then trace it to the fact that they bought something, I'm going to flip out.
Mm-hmm. And if anyone has seen footage of Woodsie and I in my Vanguard, you'd think it was a pay-to-win system. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, so we were talking about this, and you did some experimentation on... We usually play NC, New Conglomerate.
Mm-hmm. And we've purchased stuff. With Station Cash, with certifications, we've purchased stuff.
This is probably the first free-to-play game I've actually purchased anything. Mm-hmm. I think it is.
Not Tribes? I didn't purchase anything. I did purchase something in Tribes.
I did buy like the thing that allows you to gain experience faster, but I didn't actually like purchase a gun,
which indirectly allows you to purchase things with experience, for example, faster.
Right.
It's an indirect purchase, but yeah, purchase nonetheless. I decided, since I had already had a character where I purchased upgrades for things, I would start a new character, and I didn't want to create another NC because I've already played it. I chose Terran, and this caused ripples among my closest friends, who shunned me for 5 years. I started a Terran character, didn't buy anything, didn't even use certifications to upgrade anything. And I just wanted to see how I would do in a game that has already been out since late November, where a lot of people, I don't know how many, but a lot of people have been buying upgrades. I was just going to be an average soldier who just started with nothing. Played for about an hour and a half the first night, had like a 3.5 KD, hopped in a Mosquito, got up in the air, shot down 11 scythes with just a machine gun before I got taken down. So the first night, it was about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Went pretty well. Then I played subsequently with you a little bit more on my own. I've actually been doing better on this character than I have with my NC character. Still haven't bought anything, not even a scope for any of the guns.
Right.
I don't quite, and I've been in all situations, attacking, defending, huge battles in the air, on the ground, in armor. So far, I haven't seen any evidence of people who are dominating me where I can clearly tell that they have something they purchased, like rocket pods, for example. I've been up in the air in a Mosquito, people who are locking onto me, which means they have purchased AA rockets.
Right.
Still doing just fine. I don't know what my KD is in the air, but I kill far more than I am killed.
Now, can I say this? I don't want to diminish your skill in the air.
Mm-hmm, that's fine.
Okay? Because I know we're both quite good at FPS. No false modesty here. I think we're good at FPS games, so I'm going to say it. But I'm not a good pilot. I'm a so-so pilot. I can get by in the air. In a dogfight, I can get by.
A moment of rare humility from Woodsie.
But what do you think? Do you think you're a great pilot? Or 1 to 10, how good do you think you are?
7 or 8, maybe. I don't know.
That's pretty good.
In PlanetSide, not in all games.
I know. I just mean PlanetSide.
In PlanetSide, just based on my experience and success in the air, 7 or 8, I'd say.
Okay. That's fair.
But this is what that says to me, is that other people have bought stuff that they can use that is more powerful in some form or another than what I'm using.
Right.
I'm still doing very well against them. I may not have faced a large enough sample size. I mean, you could come up with all sorts of counter-arguments, so I'm not saying this is conclusive. But so far what it says to me is that whatever my skill level is, it is enough to overcome whatever advantage they have by purchasing things.
Right.
It is also possible that they have an advantage by purchasing things, but they're just a bad player, so they're not capitalizing on their advantage. I'm not trying to say that this is a valid hypothesis that should be turned into fact. But I do think that people are so quick to jump and say, oh, it's pay to win. How much does skill matter? I think it matters a great deal with a game like PlanetSide, for example. I thought it mattered in Tribes. People bought a bunch of stuff, were super powered, and I still did pretty well. Other people who I saw didn't have upgraded stuff. They're doing pretty well. I think it matters entirely on the game. Now, an example of a game that truly was pay to win, in my opinion. All Points Bulletin Reloaded, the re-released version. You could buy various equipment in that game. There were SMGs that you could buy that were just miles and miles better than the standard guns you can get. And we put a lot of hours into that game. You'd step out of a car, you'd hear a 2 or 3 shot crack, 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 and you'd be dead. And you'd realize when it showed the kill cam, the guy was 80 yards away from you.
Right.
There was at no point in that game did I feel like there was something I could do other than sneak up behind the guy to kill him.
I was about to say that exact same thing.
That was the only situation in which I could envision killing him. That usually was the case. I'd have to try to find a way to be smarter than him in order to succeed.
Right.
Because you'd sneak up on a guy, or you'd get the drop on him, he would turn, crack, 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 you're dead. Whereas it would take 8 or 9 shots for you to kill him.
Right.
And the game didn't feel balanced to me. People up and down complained about that. It wasn't just me.
Right.
And that was a major knock on the game. So I feel like a game can easily have that hung around its neck if it's not balanced well. PlanetSide 2 balances itself very well, like the example you gave. Air was overpowered, so they made anti-air maxes crazy strong.
Right.
But that makes sense because if you're an anti-air max, what is your sole job? To shoot down air. You should be good at it.
Right. I explained it to, I don't know if I want to make this too much of a PlanetSide-centered discussion, but I was explaining to our mutual friend who claims he's king of the air.
Yes, he would say if you asked him the 1 to 10 that he is a 612.
And what's funny about what he did is that he started with the machine gun and then immediately got rocket pods. I think he purchased them, possibly. Maybe not. I think he
They're
would have
expensive with certification, so I think he bought
he
station
purchased them. And he kind of like went through these variants of his build and now went full circle of the original build.
Yeah, he went back to machine gun and afterburner.
Right. And that tells me something about the metagame of PlanetSide. That, like, StarCraft has a metagame, PlanetSide has a metagame. Not every pilot had rocket pods, and most people didn't have AA, so you chose rocket pods, which reduced your maneuverability, and machine gun. It was just a natural. But now you're in a situation, everyone has rocket pods now, and everyone has AA. Now you need more maneuverability. So it's just a natural thing. And then people will start, maybe AA for a while will not seem like such a big deal because less people are flying. And then pilots will see that they have a bigger advantage. Like, it'll just fluctuate.
Yeah. And one thing I have noticed, for example, the downside, if you get speed upgrades to your jet, that certainly helps for getting away from people, but if I'm chasing someone and my default speed is faster than his, it doesn't always help me to be faster than him, because if I'm encroaching upon him, I'm getting too close. Any slight movement of his, it's tough for me to stay tracked on him, and he could easily, just through superior maneuverability, because I'm traveling faster,
right?
He can get behind me after a few loops, and my faster speed actually increases the size of my loop. So, I mean, I think that it's a playstyle issue, and that's ultimately why this guy went back to the standard build, because he wanted more afterburners to be able to go faster for longer,
right?
And escape missiles, for example, because if someone locks on and fires a missile, you can actually outrun it,
right, under
certain conditions. I think that PlanetSide in particular, and we've found it's all about specializing your character for what you want to do. And so, for example, the example of my Vanguard, I built it to be a tank killer. When we come across infantry, there's not much we can do because we have armor-piercing rounds, so we have to hit the guy in the chest to kill him. But if another tank comes by, we kill him almost instantly.
Right.
And we've chosen to be weak against air and ground for the sake of killing armor very quickly.
Right. I guess someone could say it's always situational with PlanetSide, and that's the tough part. Is that you could say. You could invent scenarios in your head where one could see it as pay to win. Like, say you're defending a tower and some light assault comes up the wall. and starts running at you with a shotgun. A shotgun in close quarters under 20 meters is just better than almost anything. Mm-hmm. Right? So he bought the shotgun, you're in close quarters, he won. In that situation, you can say, it's pay to play. It's pay to win. Mm-hmm.
Get that guy at 100 meters.
Get that guy at 100 meters. And then the tank situation as well. A tank comes around the corner, your thing's built for a tank. Go blam, blam, blam. Oh, you bought those armor-piercing rounds. It's pay to win. That's all this game is. If there were 3 heavy assault troops came around the corner, we just have to run away. There'd be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's all on... I feel like it's a lack of knowledge of how the game works.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's...
the rock, paper, scissors of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think skill matters far greater in a lot of these games than people are willing to admit. And I don't know if it's people who are aren't as good at the game, and so they want to blame it on something else. And that's not to say that a very good FPS player couldn't be suspicious of something and say, I don't know about that.
Right.
But I think that with some games, you have to really honestly ask yourself, how much does skill factor into this? Or is it such that you don't even have to be skilled? There are certain elements of Counter-Strike, the AWP. All you had to do... I mean, it was hard to no-scope a guy. Don't get me wrong. But a one-shot kill weapon? Really?
Yeah. Do you like calling it the op, or do you hate that?
I have no problem, but...
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I always hated it.
Yeah.
I opt you.
Opt.
Anyway, to answer Charlie's question, pay to play, when done well, I think it's a good thing. And when it's done badly, it'll just die, and it'll never cost you a dime. So, no big deal.
That's true. And always remember, you didn't pay for it, so shut the hell up.
Unless you really value, like, it just drives me nuts, developers put time into this, and then it died. But, so who cares?
Yeah.
There's plenty of games to play.
Yeah. That I always go back to that. If it's one thing where you spent $50 and some guy spent $200, okay. If you spent nothing and some guy spent $20 and he's kicking your ass, you were playing this game for free. Accept that. You did not give anything to the developer.
Right. And if he's literally like APB, like there's just no way around it that's better, then that's just bad game design, and then you shouldn't be playing it anyway.
Exactly. And then you do what capitalism does best. Take your business elsewhere.
Right.
Tell your friends to do the same and teach them a lesson. Or if we'll mention in a video later to come, hack their servers.
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
My name is Woodsie.
My name is Shepherd. This is the PC Elitist signing out.